Do you think you're a good communicator? You talk to people every day, right? But here's the test. The last time you asked someone, "How are you?" Did you actually want to know? Did you listen to the answer, pay attention, work with it? Or were you just waiting for them to ask you back so you could talk about yourself? In the next few minutes, you'll learn the 5 things that make someone a great communicator. And in a world where AI can do almost everything, this is the one skill it can't replace, which makes it the most valuable thing you can train. Whether that's for meetings, sales, communication with your partner, family members, or just a conversation with a stranger in a bar. In fact, most people go their entire lives without ever having a real conversation. They exchange words, they take turns waiting to speak, and they walk away having learned nothing about the person standing right in front of them. The problem isn't that you can't communicate. The problem is nobody ever taught you how to do it really well. These are the 5 things good communicators do differently. Pillar 1. Ask to listen, not just to ask. Most questions are just shallow placeholders. How's work? How was your weekend? What do you do? Placeholders. You ask because the silence is uncomfortable. You ask because it's your turn, and so that eventually they'll ask you something back and you can talk about yourself. This is what I call main character syndrome, the quiet, invisible belief that the world is a movie and you're the lead. Everyone else is a supporting role. Their job is to react, listen, and care about you. And here's what that actually costs. When you ask boring questions, the other person feels it immediately. They know you're not listening. They know their answer doesn't matter. And in that moment, whatever connection could have existed dies. Good communicators don't ask unless they're ready to hear the answer. The full answer. The boring parts. The details that don't serve them. You have to be present and actively listen. The rule is simple. Don't ask a question you're not willing to follow. Pillar 2. Be curious, not polite. Here's where most people fail. They ask a question, they get an answer, and then they move on to the next question like they're running through a checklist. That's politeness. That's not communication. Curiosity is what happens when you hear the answer and you actually work with the information. You dig. You ask the thing they didn't expect you to ask. Someone says, "I'm a divorce lawyer." The polite person says, "Wow, that must be intense." The curious person says, "What actually kills most marriages, money or boredom?" See the difference? One keeps you on the surface. The other goes somewhere real. The tool here is simple. It's called a follow-up question, but not the obvious one. Not the one they've heard 100 times, but the one that makes them pause and think, "Huh, nobody's ever asked me that before." That pause, that moment where they stop performing and start thinking. That's when the conversation actually begins. Make sure to subscribe to the channel for an upcoming video. The Art of Asking Questions. Pillar 3. Care about what they care about. This one makes people uncomfortable, because it sounds like you have to fake interest in things you don't care about. You don't. Here's what you actually have to do. Care that they care. Someone is obsessed with model trains. You don't need to know anything about model trains. You don't need to pretend you love model trains. You need to notice that when they talk about model trains, their eyes change. Their voice shifts. Something in them comes alive. And you need to be interested in that, not the trains, the person. Ask, "What is it about model trains that hooks you?" Or, "What's the thing about this that nobody else understands?" You're not interviewing them about their hobby. You're trying to understand what makes them tick. This is what creates chemistry. Not shared interests. Shared attention. When someone feels truly seen by you, not judged, not tolerated, but genuinely seen, that connection is almost impossible to break. Pillar 4. React like a human. There's a reason reaction content dominates the internet. People watching other people watch things. Sounds insane when you say it out loud, but have you asked yourself why such content even exists? The answer is simple: supply and demand. But it works for one reason. Reactions are the most human thing we have. AI can generate facts and can hold a conversation. It cannot genuinely react with awe, with surprise, with confusion, with anger, with euphoria. A real human reaction is the one thing that cannot be faked, and people are starving for it. In conversation, your reactions can make you magnetic. Someone tells you something interesting. Don't just nod. Let your face move. Let your voice change. Say, "Wait, that's incredible." Say, "Hold on. I need you to explain that again." Say, "That would make me go nuts," or whatever else you genuinely wish to express. The filter that stops you from reacting is the same filter that stops people from remembering you. For example, good actors don't act. They react off their scene partner, and their goal is to create a moment of truth, a genuine one. So they respond to what's actually happening, not what they planned to do. And that's the same skill that makes someone an unforgettable communicator. You can just feel it. Pillar 5. Say what you mean. This is the one that separates great communicators from the rest. Most people spend their entire lives editing themselves in real time. They think of something to say, run it through a filter, soften it, round the edges, and what comes out is a safer, duller version of what they actually thought. The first thing that pops into your head, before the editing, before the fear, before the "should I say this?" that's usually the right thing. It was unfiltered. It was genuine. It came from somewhere real. When you give yourself permission to speak freely, something strange happens. The people around you start doing it too. There is something intoxicating about a person who means what they say. It's liberating. It gives everyone in the room permission to drop their own filter. And conversations like that, real ones, where people actually say what they think, those are the conversations people remember for years. The rule is not be rude. The rule is don't trade honesty for comfort. You can be direct without being cruel. You can be honest without being harsh. But you cannot be a great communicator while hiding behind a polished version of yourself. Here's what all 5 of these have in common. They're not techniques. They're not hacks. They're not scripts you memorize. They're all about the same thing: getting out of your own head long enough to actually be present with another human being. Stop performing. Stop planning your response. Stop treating conversations like transactions. Ask to listen. Follow the thread. Care about their interest. React like the person you actually are. And say what you actually mean. It sounds simple because it is simple. However, simple doesn't mean easy. You need to practice. If this shifted how you think about communication, hit the like. It tells the platform to show this to someone who needs it. And here's what I want in the comments. What's the one question you ask people, but you never actually listen to the answer? Write it down. That's the first one you fix. Subscribe if you like the content and wish to see more. Now go have a real conversation.